Alright, welcome back to another Culz Reviews. This time we're checking out the BBC series The Wild West and the episode on Billy the Kid. So as usual, I'm Keegan. Joining me tonight is
Andrew
and
Matt.
So a brief synopsis is the episode really covers the last 4 or 5 years of Billy's life, from about 77, 78 to 81, when he was killed on July 14th. It was just almost a week ago for us. And I think it really shows that Billy, more than any outlaw, really probably didn't have a choice in what he did. Obviously, he was never given a break. And so I think it's kind of really a tragic story of Billy where even, had he been left to his own ways, he probably would have been a good law-abiding citizen. Just a little brief synopsis, but we're going to get more into the meat of the story now. Would either of you like to start off, Andrew?
Yeah, I'll go first. Can you hand me my drink, sir? Thank you, brother. So, the episode, it really showed you a lot about the corruption of the law and how it can be just placed into anybody's pocket, basically.
I think it's kind of neat, though, too, that you find out, like, early on, Billy the Kid was given opportunities. He stole a bunch of horses from this man named John Tunstall. And that John Tunstall went to the jail where Billy the Kid was at the time and, forgave him of what he did and gave him a second opportunity and even offered him a job at his ranch.
Yeah, and I think this opportunity was really important to Billy. Obviously, he had lived a really rough life. He really didn't even know who his father was. For a while, historians didn't even know where he was born. They really think it was New York, but not 100% sure. Obviously, when his mother married Antrim, he wasn't too good to Billy. And so when his mother passed away, Antrim kind of left him to be an orphan at 15. And so right there, I mean, what's a kid to do, Especially in those times, you're on your own, you're living in the streets, what are you going to do? And so to get that opportunity, I think, was really important to Billy and really put him on the right track.
So, going back to the corruption side, Tustin was doing so well, and the house was kind of losing money, and they had the sheriff in their pocket there, so they basically made up some phony charges and ended up killing him. Yeah, that kind of drove Billy the Kid over the edge there. He ended up wanting some revenge.
And kind of going along the lines with the corruption, this brings up the perfect point, too, where, the sheriff brought up some bogus charges, put Billy the Kid behind bars, and this was at the same time that Tunstall was being buried, and made it a point to even tell Billy the Kid, hey, oh, by the way, while you were in jail, we buried your friend.
We've all heard the story of the Regulators, obviously from Young Guns and other Billy the Kid stuff. And this is really where this came from. Some of Tunstall's people, as well as Billy, came together. And at the beginning, Billy actually was not the leader of the Regulators. That came much, much later, closer to his death. But they had seen that they weren't going to get justice, no fair trials, and really Brady could do what he wanted. And so they figured they had to take it into their own hands. And, I mean, that was kind of the mentality back then. No one, especially in Lincoln, no one batted an eye at murder, and so they went down the list.
Town.
Yeah, really lawless town. They went down the list, and in the episode, it shows kind of a more set up killing of Brady, and I think what really happened was he was in town protecting Tunstall's lawyer, and he happened across Brady, and that's when Brady got killed. Now, no one knows for sure who shot him, but we do know at least Billy was there. And that's what Billy was charged for. The only thing he was charged for was Brady, even though there was more people there.
All right, so then you had Governor Lew Wallace, who wrote Ben-Hur, make a deal with Billy the Kid to pardon him if he came and testified against a murder he had seen.
With Dolan and Campbell.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean,
There's the corruption again. Yeah, with the prosecutor actually knowing the sheriff in the house.
Yeah, and of course, once they were on that boat, they were like, "No, let's get him now," because then Campbell and Dolan went scot-free.
Yeah, they decided to continue moving forward with the prosecution.
Yeah. And so after that, Billy made his escape again. And he just doesn't get breaks here and there. And this is just another one of those where, what would have happened if, the governor had kept his word, Probably wouldn't know much about Billy the Kid, actually,
So at this point, Billy has been stealing cattle and selling them off, and the posse had actually tracked him down, cornered him in the house. And at this point, they were exchanging people as collateral to negotiate. And
I think during the meantime, the posse had sent some of their people back to bring in the reinforcements during this negotiation.
To go get military help.
Yeah.
And, Billy, I think at the time, is trying to make an escape, get Carlisle as drunk as possible, so if they make a break out another door, he can't stop them.
right.
And, it shows Carlisle jumping out the window and being shot, most likely by his own men. And I think they make a really good, argument that why would you give up if Billy had killed him?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that would be kind of the more incentive to
Yeah.
want to get Billy.
Light the
to
house
get
up,
revenge.
Yeah, why would you go away from that? So I think they make a pretty good argument that Carlisle was killed by his own men. It's something that Billy said. Billy had admitted to some of the murders, obviously, but he never admitted to this one. And so I think that's important, but you do see more corruption with the newspapers taking the letters that Billy wrote to Lew Wallace and twisting it around to make it seem like Billy was just like this notorious outlaw.
Cold-blooded killer monster.
He wanted blood, he wanted to kill. And I really don't think that's who Billy the Kid was.
No, I think he was really forced into a lot of situations.
Yeah.
You almost got to wonder if maybe he was just a scared person who wasn't sure what's going on, and he had to do what he did to protect himself.
Yeah, to survive.
Because what would you do when your back is against the wall?
Exactly.
You're going to fight. It's that natural instinct to fight.
Back in those
Fight or
days,
flight.
especially in Lincoln County, I mean, it's rough and tumble. Everyone's trying to kill everyone. There's no good law because everyone's in the pocket of somebody back then.
They used murder as a tool.
Yeah, everyone, there's no regulations, so I think people are just trying to survive. Clearly not what we do today. And so this is when Pat Garrett captures him the first time. And obviously, the gallows aren't finished yet, and Pat has to go away. He leaves Billy in the hands of two other deputies. And they really didn't have a jail, so he kind of just was out in the makeshift area.
Yeah,
And-
sitting in a chair, handcuffed, and ankles chained.
Yeah, the whole time, though, Bob's kind of being an asshole to him, taunting him, being like, you can get away. And this is something that does carry on. You see in pretty much anything you watch about Billy the Kid is the constant, taunting, or you read about Billy, you see the taunting. And I think at some point, Billy probably had enough of it. And so one day, Bob goes off to eat. And whether, Billy had shot the other deputy with his own gun, or if Billy had someone plant a gun in the outhouse and he shot him that way.
Mm-hmm.
But then he did shoot Bob with his own gun. He looked out the window, waited for him. And he says, "Hello, Bob." Shoots him twice, and the citizens helped him escape. He actually gave the gun to one of the citizens, which you don't see in this one, but they help him, get his arm braces off, and he rides out of town into history. I mean, this is kind of what made Billy the Kid.
Right.
And this is one of the first probably murders that you can actually say that he actually did commit, because it was witnessed by many other people that he did shoot and kill this man in cold blood.
Yeah, it was out in the open.
Yeah.
Yep. You can still go there today. The spot where, Bob was shot is marked. You can go look at it. Yeah, it's close to where Tunstall and everything is buried, so it's pretty interesting. Billy had escaped. Pat Garrett didn't really go after him right away. I don't know if it was out of, frustration or not wanting to. But he kept getting these reports. He's in Fort Sumner, which, Pat's like, well, I'm from Fort Sumner. I know the area of Fort Sumner. He's not there. And he keeps getting these reports, so he did end up going down there. The reports were coming from Pete Maxwell, and Billy had been kind of dating Pete's sister, Paulita, and he didn't like that. He thought Billy was no good for her, and so he kind of gave Billy away, and the rest is history. Billy sees the two other people with Pat Garrett outside, and he goes to talk to Pete and be like, "Who is that?" And he notices another shadow there. He doesn't know quite who it is. And he says, "Ken S. Who's there?" And that's when Pat shoots him dead.
What was it, 3 shots?
It's 2.
2?
It's only 2 in real life. The first one killed Billy, and he shot again, and it hit the wall. In real life, he shot him like 5 times. I'm like, Jesus. Even after his death, he didn't get a break. The Fort Sumner Cemetery got washed out by a really bad flood one year, and so they don't know where the bodies are buried. But you can still go visit a headstone and a little memorial for him, Tom O'Folliard and Charlie Beaudry, who were members of the Regulators with him. The inscription on the headstone says "Pals," and even the headstone was getting stolen so many times he's in bars to this day because they're trying to protect the headstone. I don't know people's obsession with stealing headstones. Just leave these poor people. Leave them alone. Leave them alone. Be respectful. If you want to go to cemeteries, go to cemeteries. You can learn a lot, see a lot of history, but be respectful.
Indeed.
Yeah. Well, and then going back on your point of not really catching a break, how about, in what was it, 2007? I think the governor of New Mexico at the time also looked into going ahead and pardon Billy the Kid for the original pardon that he was promised, and they decided in the end that it's too old. Who gives a shit? I mean,
Yeah.
So he didn't catch a break there either. So he had a
Even
chance of being
in the video, he's like, "We're gonna pardon Billy the Kid,"
Yeah.
and he didn't.
governor
I guess
on record.
He doesn't say we're gonna pardon, but he's like, everything shows he should be pardoned. And I don't know where it doesn't show that he should be pardoned. You got Lew Wallace's word saying he should have been pardoned.
And he said, "Me as a man sitting in my chair, I would sign that today."
Yeah, in Lew Wallace's chair. We heard you on camera.
Yeah. So.
He kind of does embody the kind of Robin Hood mentality, even though like the real people that Robin Hood or might have been based off of may have been more outlaw than giving back to the rich. You see that a lot, like Jesse James, Robin Hood, but I think Billy the Kid probably was the most Robin Hood character of them all. The people loved him in New Mexico, especially the Fort Sumner area, and so I think it's just a sad deal. I think Billy probably could have, if he was here today, probably would have just hung out, had a drink with us, been like any of us, but he was forced into a bad situation. Once you're forced down that path, and you can't get off that path,
What else are you supposed to do?
Yeah. All right, so right here, right now, let's find out. How do our people think? Does Billy the Kid deserve that pardon? They've heard it to death from me. I think he does. What about you guys, though?
Why not? Why not? I mean, he's dead. What harm could it do? It's many years after the fact. Just give him a break.
Yeah, it was an original promise that they need to follow through with it. He deserves to be pardoned for the original murder that he was charged for.
So, this doesn't have a ton of acting. It does have some acting more than usual documentaries. Might be one reason I like it. Billy is played by David Leon. And I think he did pretty good. Obviously, he doesn't have as much time as, like, Emilio Estevez, who played Billy in 2 movies, or even Dane DeHaan, who played him in The Kid recently. But I think he did pretty good for the material he was given.
I think so as well.
Yeah, no, most definitely.
Yeah, I think, the BBC did a pretty fantastic job with their casting and just how they set it up. It kept you entertained, and I enjoyed it. Yeah. Alright, so overall, this episode of The Wild West, Billy the Kid, I'd give an 8.0 out of 10. I think they did a really fantastic job. What about you guys?
I would agree. 8 for me as well. I'd recommend it.
You know what? I think for the first time, we're all in agreement. I am a solid 8 as well.
All right.
I don't know what's going on. But yeah, it's the prior highest rated one now. But I think overall we have looked into some good documentaries, so hopefully you guys are checking them out, giving them your support. But yeah, I enjoyed this episode.
Yeah.
And if you want us to check out some more of the Wild West, there's 2 other ones. One about Custer and his last stand, and the other about Tombstone, the shootout, the OK Corral. Pretty
Who doesn't
interesting
like
stuff.
A good old story of Tombstone.
Right?
I'm your Huckleberry.
I like the Tombstone pizza as well.
Yeah, we'll eat Tombstone and we'll watch Tombstone, then we'll watch the Wild West episode on Tombstone. We'll be tombstoned out.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
That'll be awesome. Alright, so if you like this and want to see more reviews, including Project Blue Book, click the link over here, right in front of Andrew's face. If you want to see more from us at Culz Paranormal, please click the link that's now over Matt's face. And please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe.